Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Get Busy with Bradley Zink. I'm San Diego children's book author Bradley Zink. Thank you for joining in today. Today is going to be a real brief episode. As you can see, I'm wearing the ASO shirt today. That's American Youth Soccer League. Like I mentioned in the previous podcast, I took on the helm of being the coach for a boys under 8 and a boys U14 team this year. Our U14s are starting our practice in about 20 minutes, as a matter of fact. I just hope it's going to cool off. It's been a hot one today, and today was the first day of school, which always is a pleasure to be able to drop your kid off for the day. But that really went fast. Pick up and drop off, of course, were just an absolute nightmare for the first day back to school blues. But it's great to have the kids there. They had a safe day. Everything went well, so it's good to have the kids back in school where they need to be for the year and get their education going. This year, my little guy, I keep on calling him little guy, although I wear his clothes and he wears mine now. He's 13 going on 20. He's an 8th grader this year, so I'm really proud of him and looking forward to, his 8th grade graduation and and being able to see all the kids that a lot of them that I coach graduated 8th grade last year. The other half of the teams graduated in 8th grade this year. So it's going to be a pleasure getting to see a lot of these kids all year long. First, I'd like to start off the show, by the way, thanking my sponsor for this week. That would be the incredible Christian rock heavy metal band In the Midst 777 with Pastor Gary Lee. There they are. Pastor Gary Lee is the lead man on guitar and vocals in the group, and a dear friend of mine and my pastor here in Oceanside. Incredible band, won numerous national awards. The music bit that you heard at the beginning of the show was from their single Resist. Check them out if you can. Today's episode is going to be, like I said, brief because I do have to pull double duty as soccer dad and soccer coach today. But I would like to discuss what I've been discussing the last couple of weeks, which is my Corvette books. As I had mentioned at the beginning of July, I sent out a notification I joined 8 different Corvette groups on Facebook, just to try to get some pictures submitted. Hoping that I could put together a photographic history of every single year of the Corvette from 1953 to 2023. I knew that was going to be a huge undertaking, so I use social media as not only a marketing tool, pre-marketing the book before I even wrote it, but also to get input from others to help put the book together and to complete it. I joined one private Corvette group of each of the different generations, C1 through C8 on Facebook, and did one single post. That was about the first week in July. By the first 2 weeks of posting to those 8 different groups, I had well over 300 or 400 submissions, photos submitted. A total of over 500 photos were submitted in the past month for the book. It originally was going to be just the one book on the brief history of the Corvette and then a photographic history of it. With all the submissions that I got, I decided to spin off a companion book, which is Love Is My Corvette, Corvettes from Around the World. As I had mentioned in previous podcasts, I had submissions from 6 different countries, 29 different states. It was quite an amazing journey to put that book together, just to see how the Corvette, morphed over time, over a 70-year span. It is the 5th longest running model car in straight production in the history of automobiles. Surprisingly, in looking up, the history of the Corvette, I found that out. Here's an interesting little trivia fact that the number 1 longest production vehicle in the world, this one was a shock to me, is actually well, actually, let me see if my producer knows. Hey, Radio Joe, do you have any idea what is the longest running production model of any car in the world? I'll give you a hint. It's over 80 some odd years.
I'm going to go with the Suzuki Samurai.
Okay, so that was really, really close. That was actually in the top 6 or 7 in the world.
That was a total joke, and I'm surprised I even got
Nah,
close.
it's Suzuki and Nissan because they have been around since the 40s and
Wow.
50s. Believe it or
I
not,
was going to
were
go with a Toyota,
in the top 8.
honestly.
But surprisingly, it was the Chevy Suburban. The Chevrolet Suburban has been in constant production since 1938.
That's so exciting.
Anyway, it's amazing what you learn, even at our age. See, I've taught you something, and you're older than me.
Oh,
But you
yeah, I'm
learn
old.
something every day, and then you can disappear now. I think I've made fun of you enough. But I love Joe. Thank you, Joe. No, in researching, this one book, I learned, something that I didn't know. It's really, that's one of the great things about, creating these books is and doing the research is, you're never too old to learn something new. So it's been a real pleasure to create those books, and the input that I had, globally was phenomenal. So I had to, like I said, spin off and make a second book. Love is My Corvette. I believe that one features over 165 or 170 Corvettes from around the world, covering all 70 years. Um, the letters that people, I was, if I had more time for today's show, like I said, it is going to have to be a brief show because of coaching duty. I'd read some of their letters. Maybe next show I'll share some of the incredible letters that people sent me along with their submissions with their photos. Um, the stories of, like people saying, I bought this car new, and when I graduated high school in 1969, it was a daily driver for 20 plus years and still drives it on the weekends today. Just touching little stories like that helps just captivate the whole mindset of being a Corvette owner and being part of this, like I said, an amazing global community of car owners. I've never experienced anything like it before. It truly is a great community. um, I also had mentioned to everybody that if they had submitted their photo for the book, and it was selected for the book, that I'd email a ebook of the book that their car was featured in. So over the last week now, I've been sending out literally hundreds and hundreds of copies of that book to literally every single person that submitted and their car was featured. So under over 170 some odd emails I sent out. Thank you for submitting your photos of your cars. They were all amazing. And it was a real pleasure to put that book together. Now, to address the marketing aspect of it, like I said, that in reaching out to each of these different communities, I'll get to the giveaway winner shortly there, Joe. Thank you for the reminder. Um, Reaching out to each of the different Corvette generation communities. That was a good foundation for getting an interest in the book. And then, of course, having people actually submit really build up a peak of interest for the book. Sorry, my producer, he's a great guy. I love him to death. We have a private chat and a comment section that I can see all of your comments. So if you send me a comment, it pops up on the screen. I'm able to address it. And every now and then, Joe will use it for serious things like, the giveaway winner. He's reminded me to mention that, which I will. But he also just told me that he's only wearing a shirt. So, hey, ladies, again, he is married. I know he's a great looking guy, but he is a faithfully married man. But thanks for the
I think it's just important that communication, it creates a good team,
Yes, it does.
I got to get up and stretch now because I'm trying to be
Oh my
more
goodness!
healthy.
And that's where we're going to take that commercial break.
Oh,
Actually, I can see the background when you do that. So yeah, it is a mirror there, and you are a little. Must be a hot one in El Cajon, and you're just trying to cool off as great as possible. And oh boy, that's great. Thanks, Jeff. You're literally one in a million. After seeing that, he's definitely one in a million. Anyway, so the marketing aspect of it. So after I've completed those 2 books, then I emailed every single person that had contributed to the book, and the car was featured in the book. Unbeknownst to me at the time, several of the contributors were also the admins for each one. Surprisingly enough, each one of the different Corvette generation groups that I joined. And surprisingly enough, every one of their cars was selected for the books. So in sending them their ebook, they have notified me that on all those all 8 generation Corvette groups on Facebook, they're going to be posting the link, so they'll be able to share, the not only the joy of their car being featured in the books, but also a way of helping me market my book and get sales. They think that it's great that I do donate 100% of my royalties back to San Diego County schools. I've been doing that for 8 years now, and 54 books later and several $100,000 donated. I don't plan on stopping that anytime soon. As long as I'm publishing books, I'm going to be donating the funds to help get the schools the funding that they need, because the children of today are the future of tomorrow for us. They are our future generation, ruling generation. The foundation to success is a good education. So I try to do what I can, as much as I can, by donating what I make to off of my books to help benefit the children. Anyway, so like I said, I've approached the different, the 2 different approaches for marketing the books, and I knew that so I'm sure that some of the people that had contributed would want to buy, an ebook is great, but they want to have that, physical copy of the book featuring their car in it. That's where the sales started to take off on Amazon over the last week. See the history of, if you can bring up the one pick, it's the Vietnam 1 pick, I think it is, Joe. The first book, The History of the Corvette, America's Sports Car, A Brief History of Our Corvette, which features 1953 all the way to 2023, brief history of each of the generations and the beginning of the Corvette, and then a pictorial history of every single, all 70 years. People really liked that book, and over the weekend, as you can see, I hit that book. I hit the #1 new releases of all automotive pictorial books on Amazon. I was, just absolutely floored that that not only the community, but just people that support me in purchasing my books, that it had such a phenomenal response. Like I said, I've published 54 books now, and only 3 of my books have ever been released as a #1 new release. One of my artist books with Michael Richard Rosenblatt reached #1, hot new release. And then amazingly enough, let's see, what was the other one? Oh, that's right. The beginning guitar for kids, 15-minute beginning guitar for kids featuring the Fallbrook kid Anthony Collins, was my most successful new release ever to this date. It reached #1 new release, hot new release, and held that spot for 5.5 weeks on Amazon, which is, for me, absolutely phenomenal that my books could succeed as well as they do. But then, here we go. I did this Corvette book. I knew I was onto a good idea. I knew that there was a strong desire for this book, and for the Corvette in general, and for that history of the Corvette book to hit #1, I was just absolutely blown away. Then I checked again on Sunday, and then Joe, if you could throw up that second pick that I sent you. As I mentioned, since I had so many people contribute to the first book, I spun off a second book, Love Is My Corvette, Corvettes from Around the World. And lo and behold, I guess in sending everybody all those e-copies and them, posting it on Facebook on all those different Facebook groups, as you can see, my second book hit #2 as the number 2 new release in automotive pictorial books. So for the first time in all of my book publishing experience, 2 of my books released in the same category hit #1 and #2 respectively in the hot new releases section for their genre. You can go ahead and kill the picture now there, Joe. I'm absolutely just speechless. I greatly appreciate all of the support. It's going to be great to be able to pass along the royalties that I'll be collecting off of these books, to the schools here locally in San Diego County, and hopefully they'll be able to put the money to good use. You know, Again, like I said, I'm totally speechless. I've never had two books succeed simultaneously like that. Um, wow, thank you. Um, so, like Joe was asking and inquiring about the giveaway winner, surprisingly, we only had 4 people. No, five people. I'll send you the emails later, Joe. Um, Only 5 people between last podcast and this one email and request a free copy of one of the 3 books that I'd released for that week. But I'm in the giving mood. If you're from all the success of the Corvette books, I'm going to extend my giveaway and expand upon it, and for the rest of the month of August in 2022. So if you see this in the September, I'm sorry, you're too late. But if you are watching the podcast live or come across this podcast between now and August 30th, I guess that's the end of the month, send me an email. Joe, if you could just scroll my email across there, it's authorbradleyzink@gmail.com. Just email me free Corvette book, and I will email every single person that emails that email address right there, authorbradleyzink@gmail.com. Between now and the end of August, email me at authorbradleyzink@gmail.com. Just put in the subject free Corvette book, and I will send you a copy of the history of the Corvette book that hit #1 this week. Continued to succeed on Amazon the beginning of this week, and so like I said, for the rest of the month, email me there, just subject free Corvette book, and I'll send you a free ebook of the history of the Corvette as my thank you to all the support and success that this book and the other Corvette book has received. So again, free Corvette book. Just email me there, and I'll send you the copy of the ebook. You're gonna love it. Everybody, I've been having a lot of, like I said, I was gonna try to get into emails. I see that I'm already past 4 o'clock, and so the kids will have to wait. They actually are texting me, but I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. Thank you again for tuning into my podcast. Thank you again for purchasing my books. I do appreciate it. All the royalties, like I said, do go to San Diego County schools. The more children that have been joining, we have I think 1,400, almost 1,400 at my child's middle school this year. So donation to them at the end of the month is going to greatly help. With all the different services that they provide the children. One thing that I'm grateful about living in the state of California is that last year during the pandemic, the state did pass all children eat free meals in public schools throughout California. Despite economic situation that they're in, both breakfast and lunch, which is amazing. That greatly helps all the parents. I can tell you, doing those lunches every day and what the kid, especially at this age, you should see how much the 13-year-old eats. No wonder why he's my size now and growing. Anyhow. Thank you everybody for helping my books become such a success like this on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and 29,000 other sites across the world that my books are available on. Next week we're going to try to get one of my musician friends that I've been hitting up for the last couple of weeks. Possibly Tuesday they're going to have availability. So we're hoping to have a musical guest joining us as a guest, remotely for next week's show and discuss the book that I have him featured in. There's several, so hopefully he'll be available next Tuesday. If not, I will I'll just literally go to his house and drag him out of bed one of these mornings and just record a podcast of us and then send it to Joe to upload for me if it gets to that. But hopefully we'll have surprise guest next Tuesday. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to my musical guests, or my musical host and sponsor, Pastor Gary Lee and the incredible In the Midst 777. Thank you for everything you guys do and all of your support. Thank you again to my wonderful colleague behind the curtain there, Radio Joe, our producer. Couldn't do the show without him. Again, if you're ever considering trying to do a podcast of your own, it is, a lot to do, but Joe makes it simple and easy. And I'm sure with others, he'll wear more than just a shirt while he's, producing your show, because he is usually professional, except for my show, because we like to have fun on it. Thanks again, everybody. Thank you again, Radio Joe. And tune in next Tuesday. And again, if you want a free ebook of the history of the Corvette, just email author Bradley Zink at gmail.com. And in the subject line, just put free Corvette book. Love you all. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you next time. Take care.